Okay, so I'm Ellie, and I did the Scottish wildcat. I didn't, obviously it's kingdom, phylum, all of those in order. Animalia, Chordata, Mammalia, Carnivora, Feliformia, Felidae, Felinae, Felis, Felis sylvestris, and then Felis sylvestris grampia. So, basically,
cutest size of the name. I'm sorry.
I know, it's so cute.
Like a grandpa
Like
Felix or
Felix.
something.
Yeah, well, it's funny because they're really similar to lynxes, and so that's kind of the same area. So I think like this one is closer to lynxes, and then they were like, oh, we gotta be more. But yeah, so the habitat, they really only live. I couldn't find like a little map of it, but they used to be all over Europe, like just kind of everywhere. Now they've kind of been killed, and so they're only in these 7 areas: Morvern, Strathpeffer, Northern Strathspey, Angus Glens, and Strathbogie. That's the only places you can find them. It's also incredibly difficult to find them in their areas. There's a place that's actually called Cat Mountain. People regularly go up there for days for the sole purpose of like taking pictures of these cats and don't find any, which we'll talk about a little later. But yeah, so they kind of end up living right in between forests and plain lands. They like living right there on that border. So what they use the forest for is hiding rocks and twigs, making dens for their young, and then all their prey, all the things they hunt, tend to be in the plain lands. So they go out there, hunt, and then come back and hide. So it's hard right now. Does he look when they're little? They look just like kids. They're so cute. But yeah, and so it's hard because we're still trying to figure out a lot because we truly like can't find them. So we're still trying to figure out what exactly, all these little details. We figured out mating season is January to March. The males come to where the women are, do their little thing, and then they're born around April or May. So about 4 months-ish, they carry them. As kittens especially, they are almost indistinguishable from regular house cats. When they get older, I have other slides that kind of talk about more different ones, but truly they just look like kittens. That's really all they look like. They leave the den at 5 weeks old, and by 10 weeks they're out hunting their own prey. The males will move as far away as 55 kilometers before first winter and kind of get started on living on their own. The females might actually stay with mom till the winter's over. And then at around 9 months, the boys are ready to go, girls are ready to go about a year, which is great because right now they're only living between 2 and 8 years in the wild. So they kind of have to be ready real fast. So, no real differences between male and female Scottish wildcats. They kind of just look the same. However, what they're kind of focusing on is big differences between these guys and house cats, because in Scotland, these guys are protected and it is illegal to kill them. However, it is totally legal for farmers to kill feral cats that could hurt their crops or their sheep. So when it's dark and it's the middle of the night, you don't know what it is. If you think something's coming to attack your stuff, you're gonna shoot it. And it's a lot of times you don't know what you've shot till after it's dead. So kind of the biggest ones are, these guys are bigger. So where a normal cat, 15 pounds, these guys can be up to 25% bigger. They also have, instead of coming to a pointed end, they just get really big fat bushy tails. And they also have horizontal lines like this. They have one huge thick line that goes from the neck to the base of the tail, and it stops at the base of the tail. The lines they have across, kind of like a tiger, they don't break, they're not broken. If there's spots or anything, then it's a house cat. Those are kind of the biggest differences. Behavior, so they're secondary consumers. They eat rats, animals called voles, rabbits. Voles kind of because they're really little. Young, like little baby kitten ones will eat those, and then kind of as they get bigger, they'll move on to rabbits and stuff. They don't like hibernate per se, but because they do like forested areas, they'll find little holes and stuff to hide during winter. So current population status, if you are really, really optimistic, you think it's up to 400, but right now most people are kind of thinking that it's between 40 to 100. The biggest problem being that farmers truly don't know what they're shooting. We've kind of been trying to move more towards setting up live traps, teaching farmers how to set up their own live traps, and then calling professionals to come and take care of it. It's also difficult because a lot of farmers don't understand how safe these cats are. So when they try to reintroduce them to like a new area that they used to live in, the farmers don't like it because they think that it's going to eat their sheep, which is funny because these cats actually really, they will probably take down a sheep once every 2 years. So, and they really only reintroduce like 6 at a time. So you're looking at in 10 years, like 3 sheep being eaten. But especially early efforts were not clearly communicated. They just kind of like threw them out there and then didn't tell farmers what was going on. So that's a huge problem. Obviously things like deforestation, taking the natural resources away, that's a huge problem. Another weird problem is that these guys can breed with house cats. It's totally possible, and they make viable young. And so you end up with these hybrids that aren't suited for wildlife, so they have problems living out in the wild, but people just kind of let their cats be outside cats. And so it's kind of causing the DNA to break down. It kind of matters because, rats can carry a lot of disease, mice carry a lot of disease, things like rabbits, they're really good at reproducing over and over and over again. And so Scottish wildcats really help keep things in check, and they kind of make sure that like there aren't too many rabbits or there aren't too many of these things. And if things like rats have diseases, cats are really good. They don't get sick. Their stomachs are made to eat raw meat, so they'll get better. So obviously we won't get sick from it. Also, a good animal to compare it to here is like the bald eagle. If all of a sudden our bald eagle went extinct, that would mean a lot for us culturally. And that's kind of how it is for Scotland. They have tons of stories and tons of different things about what these cats can do and what they've done, and it's a huge part of their, their tradition. And so I think also for like a cultural reason, we kind of need to work on it. And yeah, there it is.